Welcome back to the Animator's Notebook podcast. I'm your host, Sophia Hibbard, and today we will be talking about my role as editor within the production Good Deal. We will be reflecting inward today on the entire process of this production and talking about my production skills, where they started, where they ended, and all the chaos in between. To be completely honest, at the start of this project, my skills were basic and mediocre at best. I understood the theory of a thriller, tension, and close-ups, but translating that into a cohesive animation was a different story. Although helping sketch a few scenes, my role in this film was to mostly put together our animation and focus on the wording and the voices of the characters, as well as providing smooth transitions. Now, the evolution of my skills. Throughout the production of Good Deal, I focused on developing 3 key areas that I found most important: digital cinematography, sound continuity, and pacing. My camera work underwent the biggest shift. During the early drafts of Good Deal, I found that my shots weren't progressing as much as I'd like them to. They seemed very static and almost just like talking heads. But as I progressed, I learned how to use this virtual camera in order to make it look like the characters were actually talking. My editing itself also became just more rhythmic. I learned that in a thriller, the silence between lines is just as important as the dialogue itself. And I started using what they call L cuts, where the audio of the next character starts before we even see them, which made the interrogation feel much more professional and snappy. In multiple scenarios, you can see that the words and voices overlap, which was done on purpose to show it as if it was a real scene and as if you were really there. This took lots of practice, as animating is not one of my special skills, and I was learning it throughout this process. Now you may be asking, what were some crisis moments, some problems, and the solutions we had for them? Well, it wasn't all smooth sailing. About halfway through, I hit a massive wall. The middle of filming felt flat. The dialogue between the panel and Zola was technically there, but the tension was missing. It felt like a lecture instead of an actual interrogation where they were trying to get something out of Zola. The solution? I went back into the sound booth and I added low-frequency ambient hums to represent what we can assume is air conditioner, as well as internal monologue. And by breaking the reality of the room and letting the audience hear Zola's thoughts, I solved the pacing issue and added a layer of depth that wasn't in the original script. And the hums of the air conditioner created a little bit of tension, as it was so quiet that you could hear it. The final take. Looking back, what would I do differently next time? I definitely spend more time on lighting transitions. While the monochromatic look works, I think it could have used a little bit more dynamics and maybe pops of color to represent the power shifts between characters a little more aggressively. This project overall taught me that production isn't just about making the thing or about a problem that needs to be solved in real time. I went from someone who just draws to someone who understands how sound, timing, and framing work together to manipulate an audience's emotion. Now, thanks for joining me on this journey through the making of Good Deal. Catch you in the next edit.